look, there's certainly, I think, a few surprises that we had over the first week, but we do still have top two players in the world reaching the quarterfinals. Our Aussie Open champion still in the mix. I want to start with Iga Swiatek because, for her standards, the Middle East swing was a poor one for most other mortal women's players. She really didn't fare that poorly, semifinals and quarterfinals. I feel still with this coaching change and watching the way she played and competed, even losing in the semifinals to Madison Keys, she's more reminiscent of the Iga who had a 37 match win streak to the Iga of last year.
Yes, and that was another one where I was able to see her be Muhaba in person and really understand what she's doing. I think one thing with Iga that doesn't get talked about enough is her fitness and her legs. She is extremely low all over the court, and it she has sort of a unique technique on her forehand, and being so low and compact really helps her. A lot of people talk about the racket head speed, and that's definitely there, but so much comes from her legs. And so, for whatever reason, right now she's feeling good. She's very fit. And obviously, Indian Wells, because she's won before, these conditions favor her.
Certainly favor her. And actually, as we're having this conversation, I did a score check and she's up a set and I think double break against Qinwen. So looks like she's probably heading to the semifinals. I said this after she won her maiden major in Madison Keys that I think she made such a great decision to take some time away, skip that entire Middle East swing, just like reset and recharge. And I mean, how refreshed does she look on the court? It doesn't look like other Grand Slam winners, lone Grand Slam winners we've seen in the past, maybe returning with a little stress of like, I have to back this up. This is a player who's already had a terrific career and just added a major title to it and is playing free and loose.
Yeah, I saw her play Vekic yesterday, and she got into a tight spot in that match. And in the breaker, there were, some points where I was getting nervous for her. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. Now imagine that you're her and you think to yourself between points, okay, I'm in a tight spot right now. I really need this point. Maybe I'm not serving with my usual, efficiency. But then she can think to herself, yeah, but I was in a tight spot in a Grand Slam final against Sabalenka and I figured it out. So this is like cake right now. And sure enough, she pulled through.
How big of a difference do you think for Tangelo has helped? Obviously, they're married, but his insight in the game and his eyes just seem to be incredibly sharp. How quickly they've sort of managed things really well together.
I'm amazed by that because if I had to work with my husband that closely, I just don't know it would. I honestly don't know the ins and outs of their relationship and how they work it out professionally and personally, but it does work. And she does have confidence and belief, and she is assured, I guess, that she will be cherished and loved no matter what her results are. And I think that's given her a lot of confidence.
Mira Andreeva obviously made history just the other week as the youngest ever WTA 1000 winner, and I continue to be astounded by her talent and her abilities on court. And when I was speaking about her WTA 1000 win, it impresses me. And maybe you had a chance to see her courtside. She's not what you would call a big hitter in contrast to some of the top women's players. So for her to continue to figure it out, what is it that you think makes her so special on court to be able to notch the wins that she's pulling off? Like she took care of Rybakina comfortably.
After I saw her play, I actually went back and watched some of her recent matches from Australia. And because I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I really wanted to understand it. You're right. Although I will say she goes for a lot on her first serve.
Yeah.
And she may walk away with 9, 10 aces in a match, but she can also win if it's not working out for her, if her first serve is not going in at a high percentage or it's just not clicking, she can still win. So what is it? I think it's precision. And she has a pattern that she runs. Of course, she has a very good forehand. So that helps. But she also has a pattern that I've seen her run dozens of times, which is slice, backhand slice, cross court to pin her opponent on that side of the court, usually a righty, and then a very precise backhand down the line. And it's something with margin to finish in that court, something with like an inch or two inside the baseline. I mean, yeah, inside the baseline and inside the sideline. So I think she runs that pattern over and over and over and over again. And it's just precision, it's money.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly if you can pin your player in that corner with that slice where women are digging it out of their ankles, you can really dictate play, and she has a phenomenal drop shot as well, when she
Yes.
can use it effectively. So to me, she's still a contender to win. Belinda Bencic with the victory over Coco Gauff, she's done such a phenomenal job, I think, coming back from giving birth to her first child, one of the veterans of the game, and she's still in her 20s. I mean, Belinda, to me, if she stays healthy for 2025, there's no reason to think she can't be back in the top 20, top 15 of the game.
Absolutely. And she, very much like Svitolina, is somebody who I think after the break of having a child, she came back a slightly different player in terms of aggression, and not necessarily aggression in terms of how hard you're hitting the ball, but in terms of that mentality,
Yeah.
and also playing very specific patterns, maybe using depth, real estate, getting inside the court a little bit more. So those are two players that are just playing very free and relaxed.
On the polar side of that loss, of course, Coco Gauff, and she had 38 double faults across 3 matches here at Indian Wells, which is, of course, an ugly number. 21 in particular in that first match. Just 2-3 since the Australian Open. I read a little bit of her post-match press conference where she kind of was trying to insist it's not as bad as it seems, this slump. Are you inclined to agree or disagree, from maybe just watching how Coco's looked this season?
My take on golf has always been to separate the double faults from everything else because in professional tennis, the margins are so slim that typically it's just 10 or fewer points. It could be 1 or 2 points that separate, who wins and who loses. So if she double faults 20 times in a match, just cut those in half and you've got all this solved. Now the people argue about her forehand. I think the forehand looks pretty good. I think it's improved. The question is why is she double faulting? Like why are those second serves not going in? Is she going for too much? Is it a technique thing? Is it mental? Is it a mentality? Is it a stubbornness? But just cut those in half is my thing with Coco Gauff. And suddenly, you're going to be maybe number one, number two in the world.
We should note, like, that second serve volatility, it's not unique whatsoever to Coco Gauff, and, look, our world number 1 player went through it a few years ago, and Arina Sabalenka, and obviously shored that up and took that world number 1 mantle and won Grand Slams. She's been a little shaky, I think, since that Australian Open final. Does she look back on track to you here, for the most part?
Yes. Yes, she looks back on track, and I'm mad, mad, mad at myself that I didn't have her in the Final Four. She's playing with a lot of confidence. The thing that I and everybody else have to remember that no matter the conditions, the indoor, outdoor, the surface, she can hit through a lot with her power to just sort of negate everything. So she's at a level right now where she's kind of separated herself. She and Iga have kind of separated themselves from everybody else. So she is another one of my circled, even though I didn't pick her pre-tournament.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.